Okay, like I said, this video here specifically is about an anime doing better, an anime film doing better than it in theaters. There's more to it than that. We're going to get into it, but I do want to go through this here. So let's do this. All right. And I'll stop it and discuss as we go along.
I have to show you guys in regards to the streaming numbers. This is pretty freaking crazy. All right, so the first photo I wanted to show you guys here today comes from Anime News Center, and it says Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has surpassed James Gunn's Superman, becoming the 7th highest grossing film of the year. How sad is that?
It's not sad at all. He truly tries to make this like it's some big deal that this movie literally, this Demon Slayer movie has made $1 million more than Superman. Sure, it's probably going to make more than 616 million. Okay, but the fact that it's made $616 million and Superman has only made 615, it's probably a finish right around there. It's not that big of a deal, man. Like, movies can make more than other movies. Why aren't you sitting here saying, oh, this made 616 million, but Fantastic Four only made this much? Why aren't you saying, oh, this made 616, but Captain America only made this much? Why aren't you saying that? That's the problem. Like, they're only calling out Superman. Why? Why are they only calling out Superman? Well, let's continue to see what he says.
Crazy about this is I don't even know what Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is. I've never heard of it. I'm not into manga at all. And the only manga thing I own has to do with some Star Wars thing they did for Empire Strikes Back, this 4-issue thing. That's it. Outside of that, I'm not big into anime. It's not my thing. I don't even know what this is. You ask anybody in my family, they wouldn't know what this is. But it made more money than Superman. Okay? What this goes to show you is just how bad Superman performed worldwide. Superman is probably the most recognizable superhero across the entire world, and it couldn't even beat Demon Slayer. Superman was rejected.
I'm sorry. He is losing his mind. Well, Demon Slayer actually released back in July around the world. It hit it hit domestically a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago. Or a few weeks ago, something like that. So it just recently hit domestically. So it hit back in July. So, I mean, it literally has had the same amount of run as Superman. Okay, like it has. So keep that in mind. So that's number one. But he is literally, first off, I want to go back here and listen to this.
Worldwide. Superman is probably the most I don't even know what this is. You ask anybody in my family, they wouldn't know what this is. But it made more money than Superman.
He constantly says, I don't know what this is. My family, me, we, like, it's always about him. It's always about what is going on with him, what's going on around his family, his life, because he doesn't realize, he doesn't understand that there's more to life, there's more to this world than just him. Okay? Anime, not manga. Okay? Manga is comics for the Asians and the Asian demographic. This is anime, my man. Just to make sure you understand. Anime is absolutely huge in the Asian market. Absolutely huge. Anime will easily blow away the numbers when it comes to most films because of how big it is in the Asian market, whether it's China, whether it's Japan, whether it's anywhere over there. Mostly Japan is especially. But don't take it for granted here in America on the domestic side either. because domestically it is also huge. Domestically it is big. People love anime. When I was a teenager, when I was in high school, actually when I was in middle school, I started watching anime. And I was watching anime all the time, whether it was Dragon Ball Z, whether it was Gundam, whatever it was, I was watching anime. Anime is huge in the States as well. So to sit there and say Superman, the most recognizable, this and that, like, come on, man.
Okay. What this goes to show you is just how bad Superman performed worldwide.
First off, we know, and I'm not going to sit here and deny and say that he's wrong. It did not perform super well internationally, but we know why it didn't perform super well internationally. Okay? But domestically, it blew everything out of the water.
Superman is probably the most recognizable superhero across the entire world, and it couldn't even beat Demon Slayer. Superman was rejected all over the world.
Let me do something. A quick search here. Who is the most recognizable superhero in the world? Let's see what Gemini says. Depends on criteria, blah, blah, blah. Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man are considered ranked as the most recognizable. Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. Okay, so he's not wrong, but they don't give you like a top. So, okay, I'll give him that. I'll allow it. But I look, here's the thing. He specifically leaves out one major factor in all of this. One huge factor. Anime, people love. Demon Slayer, which started back in 2018, 2019, something like that, is on the rise. Demon Slayer is huge right now. People love Demon Slayer. It is on the rise. The DC content in films is just getting rebooted. Not to mention that there's a lot of stink on DC thanks to the DCEU and his Snyderverse. So there's a lot of stank on DC. Demon Slayer on the rise. Yeah, it's going to do a lot of money. But overall, to sit here and compare an anime to a live action film is comparing apples to oranges. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Let's keep going. Maybe.
This version of Superman, nobody wanted it around the world.
Not true.
People were expecting Henry Cavill.
No, they weren't. Here's the thing.
This version.
People were not expecting Henry Cavill to come back because he hadn't been back in 19 freaking years. It's been 19 years since Henry Cavill made an actual real appearance. Oh, he was in Black Adam. Nobody went to see Black Adam. That's why they decided to move on. Nobody saw Black Adam. So who was expecting to see him come back? He made the official announcement that he wasn't coming back. So you can't sit there and say that, well, he made an announcement he was coming back. Well, he also made an announcement that he wasn't coming back. So why would people think he's coming back then? Well, Black Adam. Well, nobody saw it. Nobody supported it, which is why they moved on from it. You see, people did not think that Cavill was coming back. Not to mention that the marketing very, very prominently showed a new and different actor as Superman.
If Superman was rejected. Now, some people are going to come in and say, well, it did great domestically. Well, then you've got a big Superman problem in the U.S. as well.
So we have a big Superman problem? The movie does nearly $400 million in the USA, and we have a big Superman problem?
Because Demon Slayer is more popular.
It is not. Well. You want to know how much Demon Slayer's made in the USA? Just over $100 million. Just over $100 million. So, Superman making nearly $400 million and 300 some odd million dollars domestically, well over what his boy Zack Snyder's Man of Steel made, which, it is what it is. We have a Superman problem domestically, is what he says. That's what he says. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going.
And it's going to continue to make money.
Yes, it is.
That's the crazy part. Superman died. When it left theaters, it was dead.
No, actually, let's pull up some information here that I conveniently don't have up. But here, I could pull it up relatively quickly because I can do that. Let's see, right about here. Oh, that's right. Superman was HBO Max's biggest movie debut since Barbie with 13 million views. But wait a minute. Did he just say Superman died? That it died? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right.
Now, all Superman fans were rejoicing this morning. Because Superman streamed in its first week on HBO Max 13 million views.
Okay?
13 million views in its first week, which is the best since Barbie released on HBO Max.
Right.
But let's look at this in comparison to several other projects.
Now this is where it gets fun.
First up, this comes from comic book something CBC. I don't know what.
Comic book something CBC. CBC is a Canadian broadcast. Crap, I can't even remember it now. But I'm not trying to sit here and say it's a comic book thing. No, it's a Canadian broadcast company or something like that. Like, it's a Canadian website. Like, do your research, my man. If you're going to use the site as an actual... Come on. I'm sorry. All right.
This is. But it says K-pop Demon Hunters wasn't a sure thing. It's now Netflix's most watched movie ever. Toronto writer-director Maggie Kang's cross-cultural blockbuster posts 236 million streams.
Holy crap!
Now,
K-pop Demon Hunters. You know the funny thing about it. So we were just talking about Demon Slayer, which is an anime. Now, K-pop Demon Hunters isn't necessarily an anime, but it does come from, the similar market coming from Korea. It's Korean, and people in that area really love their K-pop, and they really love this kind of style of film. It's really big. The fact that it's got 236 million streams, I can tell you right now that easily 120 of those streams are from my household because of my girls. Okay, so it's not like you're getting 236 million people watching this, like that movie, like 120 easily, if not more, from my household because of my girls here. They've watched that movie so many freaking times. I know the songs by heart myself because I've heard it so many times. It's pathetic. The obstacles they try to jump through, the hoops they try to jump through to try and make it seem like Superman failed. They wouldn't have to jump through these hoops. They wouldn't have to try and make it look like it failed had it just failed. If this movie just was a flop, if Superman just failed, they wouldn't need to do all this. They wouldn't have to sit here and pull stats from a Netflix movie that was an unimaginable, huge, massive success that nobody saw coming. Nobody. But this is where it gets even funnier.
This photo and the next photo I'm taking comes courtesy of the Lethal Geeks. They posted these. I grabbed them.
The
Lethal Geeks. Them here.
Our friends.
They deserve the credit on this.
My best friends over at Lethal Geeks.
Not only
they're my friends.
Did this make 236 million streams to Superman's abysmal 13 million streams. Think about that.
Whoa, I'm thinking
Think
about it.
that.
Whoa.
That's insane. Almost 20 times more.
20 times
Insane.
more. That's insane. It's insane. But, okay.
Oh, whoa. It didn't even beat Rebel Moon. Remember the movie that was supposedly a failure and was a bomb?
Here's my shock face.
It had 24 million views in its first 3 days.
Okay.
In its first 3 days.
Movie released on streaming only. No, that's it. Use your brain, Aaron. Movie released solely on streaming. Movie released in theaters. In theaters for 2.5 months before going on streaming. Not to mention, released in theaters for a month, then released to pay to watch digitally, then released on streaming. Do you see, like, do you see the ridiculousness here? Do you see, like, they try to make things make sense when it just doesn't. Like, they think, like, he probably, like, first off, because this came from Lethal Geeks, and I'm sure you guys saw the video that Comics Cuts and I did, and you know how asinine and ridiculous their takes are on things and how they just don't vet their own information. I'm sure, like, I can see them. They were probably, like, on the computer, like, guys, look, Rebel Moon, look, Rebel Moon, our Lord and Savior, Zack Snyder, look, they got 24 million views in the first 3 days. We got to share this. We got him. And I'm sure that's how excited they were. And then Aaron Fischer saw it, and he's like, I'm sure he's sitting in his little closet because his family doesn't want to see him, so he hides in there all day. He's probably sitting there, and all of a sudden he's scrolling through his computer, and he goes, ha! Got him! So hey, he takes it, and he throws it up on the internet and shares it with everybody because they all think like this hive mind that they got all this information and that they're the smartest people ever. When in reality, they just look like complete dumbasses, because this is like comparing apples to toy oranges. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't jive. But okay, let's continue because there's a lot more.
It had 24 million views, much less a week. Think about those numbers, guys. No matter what anybody tells you, Superman was not the blockbuster hit they claim it to be. It's all smoke and mirrors.
It was.
Let's look at what Movie Hubbub posted this morning, and him and I were going back and forth. So in regards to this, I actually posted this yesterday, and I said, further proof that Warner Brothers dropped the ball. The most recognizable character in the world.
So he goes through this and this little argument that him and Movie Hubbub went through. And like, this is his whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to show my fans, I'm going to show my followers that I got him. He doesn't got him. That's the thing. I did comment at one point on here because he doesn't got him. Like, there's at no point did Aaron ever get Movie Hubbub on this, which is hilarious to me. Now, when I sit here and really like look at things, like he tried. Here, I'll just play because you gotta see.
Became second fiddle to a film that it should never been able to come close, and it's true. So when I showed the photo of this other movie making more than the film that got released, Movie Hubbub came in and said, just like F1, some Americans are clueless on what had huge global international following. They need to travel outside the states.
Exactly.
They have just a myopic worldview. The Superman domestic performance is huge, though, which helps profit margin. And I told him, you work for DC and don't even understand the popularity of Superman.
All of them. They all just continue to move
this version. Unbelievable. He said Superman outdid 3 Marvel movies in 2025.
Lethal Geeks.
It's a moderate success. You guys acting like it flopped is silly. It got a sequel right away within an entire Superman saga framework. I said it was a global failure, and you know it. Doesn't matter if it got a sequel. He replied with, more movies for the DCU are because it performed well enough. It would have been dead like the Snyderverse if it actually flopped. And I said, you can't play both sides.
I want to know what he's talking about. You can't play both sides. Like, I don't understand what he's saying there, because first off, what Movie Hubbub is saying here is he's not wrong. Because if the movie was a catastrophic failure, like he says, like so many others are saying, they would not be continuing this franchise. Okay? They just would not be. Like, it would be pointless to continue it. So that's number one. Number two, if they want to say that it's a failure, why would it get a sequel? You know, so like I can understand that, hey, maybe this movie failed, but let's continue the franchise and do these other movies to see how it does. Okay, so I get that. But if it was such a catastrophic failure, why would you essentially do a sequel to it? That doesn't make any sense. You know, like, to me, these people just don't want to understand like how business works. Like, it just doesn't jive with their minds. Like, their minds are so twisted and messed up because they can't handle facts that
Snyderverse was wildly popular through Shazam, made the studio a ton of money. Superman lost the studio money, but they are banking on reviews, which is hilarious. He goes on to say Superman made a $125 million profit. It set up more movies for the DCU also. The domestic return rate is like 30% more than the Asian market.
I know he tries to say that Superman didn't make $125 million in profit.
Cancellation man.
But there's no proof that it did or didn't.
And I replied, it did not make $125 million in profit. You know that is a straight up lie. Superman was...
He just keeps going.
And I told him, he sound like a... And he actually works for DC. They know what it made. That is not what it made. It is a lie that they continue to perpetuate. See, they throw it out there.
How do you know it's a lie? This is the thing. Everybody wants to sit there. Not everybody, but these people want to sit there that want Superman to be a failure so bad. They will sit there and say it didn't make $125 million. Okay, so how much did it make? Show me how much it made. Show me the proof that it didn't make that much, because we can sit down and show the numbers that it did. I've done it. I broke it down on my website. You can go to slavsfreetalk.com. You can find it all there. I've broken down that. I've broken down where the studio did not lose money from Superman. It did not lose money. It is not a flop. But you guys sit there and say that it was a catastrophic flop for the studio, for Warner Brothers. Show us the proof. Show us the proof, because you can't. You cannot show us the proof. And that is where your fight falls flat. And that's the sad part, because you just now run around in circles.
Simply not true. It's not true. And so he's going to sit here and try to make it look as positive as it could possibly be. Yeah, well, I will tell you, the early days of the DCU, you know, for the first 5 years, were wildly more successful than anything that James Gunn has done for the DCU. Nobody watched Creature Commandos. It was like...
You want to know why the DCEU was, quote-unquote, wildly more successful? Because it was in the middle of the superhero genre boom. In 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, from that point, from those 7 years, essentially, those 7 years, that genre was the genre when it came to movies. Everybody wanted to be a part of the comic book movie genre. So actors were signing up for those movies left and right. Directors were signing up left and right to direct those movies. Writers were signing on. That was the genre to be part of. The audience was going in droves to see those movies. All of them. even the bad ones, your Captain Marvels, your Ant-Mans, your Civil Wars, the bad ones were even getting watched, making $900 million, $1 billion. They were making shit tons of money. But here's the crazy thing. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about that. Why? Because it destroys their narrative. It destroys their narrative. Since 2013, the genre has, in ticket sales for the genre, are down about 40% for just the genre. I'm not talking about ticket sales overall. For the genre, are down about 40%, 40 to 45% for the genre. Ticket sales are down. If you take a look at ticket sales overall, they're down about 30 to 40%. So there is a big drop over the last 12 to 13 years. But look at the genre where it is right now. 2 years ago, the average box office was $395 million. Last year, $450 million. This year, thanks to Superman, the average is over $650 million. But will they give credit to Superman for beating the average of the last 2 years for the superhero genre, for getting it back over $650 million? No, they won't. They won't.
300 million a week or 300,000 a week we're watching it. That's it. Do you guys know how small 300,000 a week is? And then you have Peacemaker, which is getting like 700,000 a week. They can't even get up to 1 million views on these projects because nobody cares about what DC is doing. The world rejected this version of Superman. The entire world did.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what it did domestically. Domestically, it didn't even sell as many tickets as Man of Steel did. The interest.
I just explained why it didn't. First off, this whole idea that a movie 15 years later has to do as well as a movie 15 years ago is just dumb, asinine, and pathetic. That's not the bar. That's never been the bar. That's not the bar for studios. That's not the bar for anybody. It's never been the bar for anything. Like when they made Batman Begins, do you think they sat there and said, this movie needs to make more money than Batman and Robin did? This movie needs to make more than Adam West Batman in 1966. Do you think that's what they said? No, they couldn't care less. They looked at 2005 and they said, what is going on in 2005? What kind of money is Spider-Man making? What kind of money are the X-Men movies making? What can we expect in that regard? And we want to make that kind of money, if not more. That's what we're looking for. Because that's what studios look at. They don't look at what was going on 10, 15 years ago because that's stupid. That is just idiotic. You can't, like, if you were a studio head and you were doing that, you would be out of a job within 2 days, if that, because it's stupid. Like, you're just an idiot if you do that. Like, okay, it didn't match the numbers of Man of Steel, but don't forget that it was during the superhero boom, which Man of Steel didn't even do that well for that time period. Look, it's still my favorite superhero movie, but I can admit, I can be a man. Can you be a man, Aaron, and admit that Man of Steel didn't do all that hot with it coming out in 2013 in the middle of the superhero boom? Can you accept that? Can you? No? Okay, I didn't think so. Because it didn't. It did all right. It wasn't a flop. It wasn't a flop, but it didn't do great. But in 2025, I just went over the numbers for you, buddy. Superman deserves its flowers. They deserve their flowers, my man.
In this version of Superman is a complete fabrication. The whole thing is, I like to keep it apples to apples.
But you're not keeping it apples to apples. You're keeping apples to play plastic oranges.
Seat for seat, ticket for ticket.
But you can't do that right now, my man. What don't you understand? Nobody freaking cares about superheroes in 2025. They're trying to get the people back in the seats because Marvel screwed up, DC screwed up. Everybody left going to the theaters. Nobody cared. So now they're trying to win everybody back. Inflation is bad. The economy is bad. Nobody wants to go to the theaters unless they absolutely feel enticed and excited to go. But even then, 2013, you didn't have streaming. You didn't have something to fall back on and say, you know what? I can wait 2 or 3 months to catch it on streaming. You know what? I can wait just a few weeks to catch it on streaming. That wasn't around in 2013. You have that in 2025. That's something that started coming around over the last few years. So you want to sit there and act like you know what the hell you're talking about, but you don't. I'm going to compare it apples to apples, but leave out everything else.
That shows you pure interest. That's the only real way to do it. And the fact is, this movie sold fewer tickets domestically than Man of Steel. This movie couldn't even beat Man of Steel, not even adjusted for inflation.
It didn't need to.
It did horrible overseas.
Yes, it did poorly overseas. I've admitted that. And anybody who tries to say it didn't do poorly it did poorly overseas. It did. If it would have done what it should have needed to do overseas, we wouldn't be having this discussion for sure. They would all be shutting up right now, but it did poorly overseas. But we know why. We do know why. Politically, what's going on in the world right now has hurt any sense of American anything overseas. Full stop.
The world rejected this version of Superman. The views for the first few days were ridiculously low. It couldn't even beat Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was a rehash of a film that had been released several years prior.
A rehash. Please, somebody clip that. Somebody clip that and just save that, because he basically is now saying that Zack Snyder's Justice League is the same thing as Justice League. That's what he just said. That's what he just said. Oh, Zack Snyder's Justice League, just a rehash. It's just the same thing as what came out in 2017. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah, I'm a diehard Snyder fan, but that's all it is. Like, dude, do you even hear yourself talk? That's the problem with these people. They don't pay attention to what they're saying. They don't. And here's the crazy part about all this. None of this matters at all.
Can't even beat those things. And now with streaming, you see how much more.
It took 7 days for Zack Snyder's Justice League to hit 2.2 million views. 2.2 million views. In the first 3 days, it got 1.8. In the first 3 days, Superman got 1.2. I'll give it that. Look, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Why should I lie to you? I'm not going to lie to you. But Superman in the first 10 days on HBO Max, 10 days, got 10 million views. I mean, whatever. Okay, let's keep going.
That K-pop thing did on Netflix, and how much more that Rebel Moon did. Everyone keeps saying that Rebel Moon was a failure.
It was and is a failure. I don't know how to explain this to you, Aaron. I don't know if you're ever going to watch this, but Netflix getting 24 million views in the first week or whatever it was, first weekend, 3 days, whatever it was, is not good, buddy. That's not good. But it's not good, man. It's not. When you really think about it, Rebel Moon didn't do very good because it was straight to streaming. That's all it did. That's pretty bad.
No. You know what's a failure? If you want to go by those same standards, Superman is dog shit. Superman is not being embraced the way they claim it is. They're going to use all these tactics to say it's doing great. The fact that it made 13 million views, it's simply because they don't have anything new on the platform. I would hope that it would do better than that. It should do better than that.
But your Snyder stuff didn't do better than that. So the thing that you want to be restored, the thing that you're sitting here fighting for, you're sitting here fighting for Superman and this DCU to be canceled so Snyderverse stuff can come back, didn't do better than this. Keep that in mind.
The fact is, people don't care. They don't care. They didn't care when it was in theaters. They don't care. People have been sending me pictures, too, of Walmarts where they put up the Superman movie. Freaking other movies have spots that are empty because people are buying it, and Superman is all completely stocked up. They can't even sell it on physical media.
You know, I worked at a video store. Now, it's been years. My current job I've been working at for 12 years now, but before that I worked in retail. And you know what retailers will do? Retailers will overstock. You will get more product for things that you're going to sell more of. Specifically when I worked at Hollywood Video years ago, you would get, I don't know if you've ever walked into a video rental store. I know some of you are young, but when you put up, every Monday we would redo our new release wall. And I'll take Lord of the Rings, for instance. Lord of the Rings would be a huge rental. We would get 100 copies of Lord of the Rings, and we would fill a whole bay of Lord of the Rings. But let's say some random movie also came out. We might get 5 copies of that, and we would get maybe 2 little spots on the wall. That's how it works in retail. So the fact that you're seeing a whole bunch of Superman movies on the shelf doesn't mean that it's not selling. So there's you can't sit there and say, oh, it's not selling. Everything else is selling out. Maybe they only got 6 copies of this other thing that they're seeing. Maybe they got 30 copies of Superman, and maybe there's 5 copies or 6 copies left of Superman. That's the thing. You don't know because you're not working there. Like Real Anarchy says, again with the Walmart sheriffs. Yeah. What is the Walmart sheriffs going to do? They don't know shit. They don't. All right, let's keep going. Come on, play.
Like, this is crazy. I remember when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, I had to go to several places to be able to pick it up.
No, you didn't.
Same with Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman is one of the biggest selling Blu-rays ever.
Didn't.
That extended version.
No,
like, they don't have a clue as to what's going on.
You didn't.
The DC brand is so tarnished. James Gunn was the wrong guy to bring in.
Let's also point out Batman vs. Superman. That's when digital was just like really starting out on sales. So 2016-ish, like you could buy digital stuff, but it wasn't like big. So I remember when Batman vs. Superman came out, I bought it digitally. You could buy it digitally. Or I walked into Walmart and I grabbed it off the shelf, which I did because I have my Superman. I just actually bought it today. Speaking of which, I'm going to be giving away. I have to figure out how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do a giveaway for the digital code. So if you guys don't have Superman yet, I will be doing a giveaway for the digital code probably within the next week. But yeah, I buy them. So like it's not hard to do. You just go and buy it. Like this guy.
His 2 projects outside of Superman are freaking disgusting. They shouldn't even be part of DC.
They're disgusting. God forbid he has some range and is able to create different tones for the DCU. God forbid that, everybody has a chance to see and watch something different. Does he say that Deadpool and Wolverine is disgusting for Marvel? I bet you he doesn't. I bet you he loves it.
And yet they're going to try and run with this dude. Like, it boggles the mind. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But they're going to sit there and just try to make everything look all rosy. I'm never going to do that with you guys. I am never going to sit here and blow smoke. You guys know what's going on.
They don't if they're just listening to you. That's the problem. That's why people like Movie Hubbub exist. That's why people like I exist. That's why we sit here and commentate on your ridiculousness, Aaron, because you sit there and say, I'm not going to blow smoke, but you do. You do. You just make up complete bullshit and blow smoke nonstop. It's rather pathetic, my man. It's pathetic. It really is. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I went on quite a bit here. Like I said, this was a spur of the moment thing. I wasn't planning on doing this on today's show, but I thought it'd be fun to do. Nice critic. I don't know. He likes me right now. He started following me again on Twitter, so he likes me. Like the other day, like I literally like just got a notification that he started following me again. So he likes me right now. Remember, I was his, I guess his white knight in shining armor on that Chicks show the other day. I don't know, but